I have to take my children on viewings with me. If I want to do this, I just have to get on and do it. All the opportunities that I've had, such as the elevator show, meeting Hayley, pitching on the Property and Entrepreneur Summit, everything has come through. As a mum, you always feel like you need to prove yourself more. I've done Zoom meetings where they'll shout down to an investor, bye-bye poo-poo head. It was on the market at 325. I managed to secure it for 258,000.
Wow, what went into that negotiation? Welcome to another episode of the Property Developer Show, the podcast. Today I'm joined by Chloe, who is a superstar, TV, personality, property elevator, property developer, hard hats to heels host, and everything else, and a mum in between all that. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. And I think we randomly got introduced at Doncaster races, and
I was on a hen do.
Yeah, and I was there for property and business reasons, if HMRC are listening. And obviously, you know, we just clicked from my side anyway. Yeah. And I've known you for a very short period of time, but what you've achieved, or what I've seen you start to achieve, has been phenomenal. And I always love to see that kind of upward journey, but I'm sure it's not been straightforward to get to where you are at the moment with all the momentum that you've got. Property elevator, hard hats to heels, pitching at the Property and Entrepreneur Summit for investment. So, and also throwing being a mum in there as well. Like it's really impressive. So
thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Where did it kind of begin in terms of like the property journey for you?
So officially it began sort of 18 months ago. I was in a corporate job. I was a business development manager for the last 10 years. And I was about to have my third child, had 3 children in 3 years. Wow. Absolutely bonkers. And literally I was 2 weeks off giving birth and the opportunity for voluntary redundancy come up. So I grabbed it with both hands and basically from that moment threw myself into property full time around my family. So officially, 18 months ago is when I started saying I was a property investor, going to all the property events and really putting myself out there. But actually doing property, I've been renovating for 7 years, but it was always just on the side alongside the main job. So it has been a bit of a journey, but the last 18 months is when it's really accelerated.
Nice. So in terms of, I guess, the experience of the property elevator, you know, what was it like being on there? And B, what has that done for your own sort of property career?
So it's the concept of the show, if somebody hasn't watched it, is a bit like Dragon's Den. So you go with a property deal that you want investment for. And then like on Dragon's Den, you've got the angels and then they'll decide if it's worth investing for them. Mm-hmm. So the application process, I think you submitted your deal and it was about 4 or 5 weeks or so before you actually found out.
Right.
So for some people, they might have had an active deal, or for me, the one that I submitted, it was just one that I'd been and looked over, not really done too much into it. Mm-hmm. So then when I found out that I was going on, I literally had a week to get prepared, get the investment pack together, get all the numbers confirmed, the quotes and everything like that. So that's when Ryan from Create Construction came in really handy, because he literally came out and did all the quotes and everything for me to support my investment pack. So it's quite a quick turnaround. You get all the information together and then you take that with you on the day. And then when you get there, it's actually one of the studios where Dragon's Den is filmed, which is really iconic and amazing. And then you're with everyone else that is also going to be pitching, and you get a time slot of when you're going to be on. Mm-hmm. So that was really nice, because again, it was really good networking. You're hearing about other people's deals, and then obviously you're listening to them go on. So then went on, did the pitch. The pitch is about half an hour long. They get your investment pack half an hour before you go on to have a look at it. Then you go on, do your pitch, and then they obviously ask you questions and sort of grill you a little bit about the investment, and then they'll decide if they want to invest or not. Cameras are all rolling. I can't remember now how many cameras there are, but you kind of don't notice the cameras. You're just sort of focused on doing your pitch. You kind of block out everything else.
Yeah.
and then yeah, see how it goes.
Nice, good. So obviously off the back of meeting Hayley Andrews,
Yeah.
you ended up starting Hard Hats to Heal as well. So that's 3 shows down and just 2 more to go. After another successful show in Birmingham, our next stop is Manchester on the 10th of September, where we'll have 45 exhibitors, 12 keynote speakers, and over 350 property developers in attendance. Again, that's Manchester, 10th of September. And then finally, we're in Leeds on the 8th of October. So if you're looking to network, raise money, meet new business partners, find new deals, or meet amazing service providers, visit our website today to book your free ticket, propertydevelopershow.co.uk. I look forward to seeing you there. When the deal needs to move fast and the numbers need to stack, there's one name in property who you can trust: Vast Commercial Finance. Whether you're funding a ground-up development, refinancing a HMO, or you need bridging for your next big opportunity, Vast connects you with the right lenders first time. No endless paperwork, no wasted weeks, just straight talking advice and access to the entire market. And if you're not sure what kind of funding you need, Vast will guide you through it with real expertise, fast response, and a genuine interest in making your project work. They're not just brokers, they're partners in your growth. So if you're a developer who needs speed, certainty, and clarity, head to vastcommercialfinance.com and get your next project moving.
Yeah, from the back of that, I met Hayley Andrews, who is one of the angels on the Elevator show. And she's also founder of Hard Hats to Heels, which is a female property networking group.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd got the established group in Dudley, and then she was just starting to launch other locations. So yeah, built that relationship with her, I think, from being, I'd seen her at a couple of events, and obviously I'd been and pitched. So she then approached me and said, would you like to be the host of Sheffield Hard Hats to Heels, which was obviously an amazing opportunity for me. And so, yeah, so I've took that on, and we launch in a couple of weeks, end of July.
Nice. So by the time this episode comes out, you'll be first event under your belt.
Yeah.
When do you meet? What's the official meet date?
So we're meeting the 4th Tuesday of every month. So the first one is Tuesday, the 22nd of July in Sheffield City Centre. We're going to have amazing guest speakers every month, and it's just about that community aspect and women supporting women and growing together, doing business together, and just thriving and highlighting what we do. So yeah, that's going to be the 4th Tuesday of every month in Sheffield. Hayley will be at the first event, and I think she'll make a couple of events after that as well.
Nice, amazing. Well, congratulations on all fronts, really.
Thank you.
So in terms of like developing, you said you did it sort of casually back in the day, or whenever that was, versus now, what's kind of been the fundamental differences for you?
Well, when I was doing it before, I was just I didn't have the knowledge, didn't have the support around me. I was kind of just winging it, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And then when I decided to go fully into property, that's when I invested in like my education, threw myself into events and networking. And that's why becoming the host of Hard Hats to Heels, for me, I'm really proud of, because all the opportunities that I've had, such as the Elevator show, meeting Hayley, pitching on the Property and Entrepreneur Summit, everything has come through networking. So I'm really passionate about the power of networking and the power of relationships and people. So yeah, this time round, because I've thrown myself into those events and put myself into the right rooms, it's just kind of been a bit of a snowball effect. Like one person leads on to another person, leads on to another opportunity. And all the time you're learning, but you're growing as well. So although in this last 18 months, I've not done tons of property, it's been more about sort of building myself as a person and my personal brand.
Yeah. That is probably the most understated part of the process that people, I think, overlook. It's, my mum used to always say, and still does to this day, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
And particularly in a relationship-driven industry where, you need to be able to pick the phone up and say, I'm in this situation. What's the best route forward, or take advice from other people that are in the same sort of boat as you. And that allows you to scale up in property very quickly and enables, essentially what you've done over the last, 6 months or so. And I think people underestimate that part of the process, that, and you know what, it's not for everyone, the networking stuff, but it is still vital. I met my first JV partner at a PIN event, and that then became, my career essentially, because I had that first opportunity with an investor, and then we grew a portfolio, and the rest is history and why I'm sat here now.
Snowball effect.
But had I not been networking and, getting myself out there, I'd have never had that opportunity. And I think the phrase is something along the lines of the goddess of good luck favors men and women of action. And,
it's true.
There is an element of luck to property and business and success, but it comes down to opening enough doors that you'll come across the opportunity in the same way that you have.
Luck is created though, isn't it? So
100%.
Even though it is chance that you might meet that right person, if you're not in those places and you're sat at home, you're not going to increase those chances of meeting the right people.
No, absolutely.
I was the same though. So I have a podcast called the Mums in Property podcast.
That's a plug.
Which I co-host with the lovely Jade Ellis. And so my first property event, which was a couple of weeks after baby number 3 was born, was totally out of my comfort zone. I'd not done networking since I'd had a business at like 18. Was really out of my comfort zone, and went to a PIN event. Obviously didn't know anyone. Was kind of umming and ahhing. Shall I go? Shall I not? I've not got business cards. I've not got a business. Like, should I go? But I went, and literally I met Jade. It was also her first property event, and we just clicked instantly, swapped numbers, text each other the next day, and we just became really, really close over the few months. And then I think we'd been speaking for about 8 or 9 months when the idea of the Mums in Property podcast came up. So again, like that all come from networking and being in the right room at the right time.
What advice would you give to people that are maybe a bit afraid of networking and kind of maybe think, that's not for me, that isn't, what are the benefits of networking that you've found, obviously apart from what we've discussed, and also what advice would you give to someone that's maybe a bit afraid to go and do the networking?
You're not going to meet people sat at home. You have got to put yourself out there. That's the only way people are really going to know who you are. And I put this on a post the other day, like 18 months ago, nobody in property knew who I was. And I can walk into a room now and I'll know people because I keep going to events, and you see familiar faces and you get to know people. The first one might be a bit daunting, but people are really supportive. Everyone wants to talk to someone. So you're never going to be stood on your own. Somebody will come over and make you feel welcome. And you've just got to overcome that barrier and just think, look, what do I want to gain out of going to this networking meeting? Is it that I want to hear the guest speaker, or I want to learn, or do I want to meet connections and get my name out there? And even if the first few you maybe sit at the back or hover around the door, that's fine. If that's what it takes to build your confidence, you've just got to keep going. And every time you go, you'll chip away and you'll get a bit more confident. You'll know another new person in the room. And before you know it, you'll be sat on the front row contributing, and you'll know half the people in the room.
Absolutely.
It's not as scary as you think.
For sure. I mean, I remember, I think it might have been the first ever networking event that I booked onto, and I sat in the car park and I was like, I ain't going.
Yeah.
And drove home.
It's so common though, that.
And now I do probably 2-3 events a week.
Yeah. I know women, exact same, that have texted me and said, I didn't know you was there. I was sat in the car park and then I didn't want to come in. And they've been to the event before, but just on the night got a bit of anxiety. And it is really common. And also that's fine. If an event you get to, you can't go in, that's fine. Don't force yourself to do something. But then next time you might get a bit closer and you might go in.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the more people you get to know, and then it becomes easier to network, and then you get introduced to people because people already know who you are, and that. But it takes time to get to that point.
And also it is a little bit of trial and error. Like some networking events you maybe won't like as much, and some you'll love. You've got to find your tribe and your people. And the only way you're going to do that is by going and seeing what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah, it's going to Hard Hats to Heels.
Yes.
On the 4th.
22nd of July.
22nd, which is the fourth. What?
Fourth Tuesday
Fourth
of
Tuesday.
every month. Yeah.
I'll memorise that.
Yeah.
Amazing. So in terms of, I guess, on the education piece, you've been doing sort of refurbs, not sort of very efficiently, but you've still managed to have some success with that. You've done the training. What is that approach now? What's different in your mind?
I think now I know it's a business. So when I was doing it before, as I say, it was a bit of a side hustle. I was making good money from it, did well in my flips. Again, made some errors, learnt along the way, improved each time, did slightly bigger projects. But now it's very much run as a business. Like, I know what I need to turn over. I know where I need to invest. I know from a business structure how it needs to run. I'm not just doing this for fun. This is my career. This is my livelihood. I've got 3 young children that depend on me and my partner. So this is my life. So I'm very much focused on the bigger picture. Like, what is the end goal? What am I trying to achieve? What is the reason why? Like, why am I doing all of this? Whereas I didn't have any of that before, because I had the security of my salary from my corporate job. And as I say, I was just kind of winging it, but doing well.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. So in terms of, I guess, that kind of structure piece then, what kind of mechanisms have you brought in to enable that kind of different mindset?
So because my children are young and they are at home, so I've got a 4, a 3 and an 18-month-old. And they are with me all the time. So in the beginning, I sorry that I'm just going off on a
No, it's all good.
Divert at the minute. But in the beginning, I used to feel a bit embarrassed that my children was at home if I was taking professional phone calls, because I'd try and come across professional and then you could hear the kids like shouting and arguing in the background.
Yeah.
And then eventually I just got over that and I thought, do you know what, if I need to take the call and I need to do business, so what if they're in the background? I'm still me. I'm still going to do the same job. Mm-hmm. So I overcome that barrier, and I have to take my children on viewings with me. They've been to building sites. They've been to run down houses they probably shouldn't have been in, but they have to come, because if I want to do I just have to get on and do it. So in terms of systems and stuff in place, it's just making sure, like things like my CRM, social media, things like that I allocate certain time. I'm very structured in the time that I work, because I don't get loads of time. I just get small pockets of windows. For example, my children still nap. So I know from sort of 12:30 till 2:30, I've got 2 hours solid. So I always know in them 2 hours exactly what work I'm going to get done. Mm-hmm. Whether it's down to 15 minutes, half-hour slots, I know what I need to achieve and I'll get it done, because then they'll be back up and it'll be chaos. Until then they go to bed at 7 and then I know I've got my windows again. So I'm very systemized in how I work now. And it just comes down to time management, really.
Absolutely. So you've got them on the damp readers and doing the measurements and...
Oh yeah, literally everything.
Brilliant.
And then even oh God, I've done Zoom meetings where they'll shout down to an investor, bye-bye poo-poo head. And then I had another Zoom meeting on Friday with a potential sponsor, and my son, who was meant to be napping, came down in his Spider-Man outfit and was like jumping in the background of my Zoom. And I was a bit like, oh God. But the guy I was on the Zoom with was like, he found it funny. So it just shows that is my real life.
Yeah. I think people are receptive to that 100%. Yeah. I think it's probably just a self-limiting belief, that
absolutely
it is a problem, but that's a reality. Everyone is in that same situation, just business, personal life, it's everyone is juggling something.
And that was the whole point of doing our podcast, me and Jade. It's because we found, by talking to one another, we were both struggling with the same things. And so we thought, well, there's obviously other mums in property that are also facing these challenges and struggles, but no one's really talking about it. Everyone kind of keeps it a bit hush-hush, because as a mum, you always feel like you've got something, you need to prove yourself more. So we wanted to just be open and honest about our journey, the highs, the lows, not just of property, but being a mum juggling all of these issues alongside, whether it is property or whether it's business or whether it's a job. There's lots of different plates that you're spinning. And we just want to show it's not easy, but it is absolutely possible.
Yeah. I mean, I tip my hat to it. Honestly, I do. My former business partner, he had 5 kids.
Oh, wow.
2 step kids, 3 his own, and was running a business, obviously, with us at the same time. And I just don't know how he did it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure when you're faced with the situation, you just crack on with it, don't you?
Yeah, you have to. And definitely what you said about the limiting belief, that was my limiting belief. I used to think, well, I can't go and do that house viewing because I've got the 3 kids, or I can't answer this phone call because the kids are here. Why? As long as I'm getting the job done, that's all that matters. And the minute I sort of stopped that limiting belief, that's when everything flourished for me. And that's when the opportunities started to open. And off the back of that, actually, instead of being embarrassed of being a mum with having the children, I actually zoned into it. And that's become kind of my niche now, is that I'm a mum in property.
Amazing. No, I like it. So let's go back to the flip deal.
Yeah.
What does that look like? Have you completed on that yet?
No, I'm just waiting. Obviously, Hayley's just got to do her bits of due diligence and things, and we've got to sign some documents. So we're very close now. But yeah, so this is a flip project in Derbyshire. It is a 1920 semi-detached house. It's absolutely stunning. It's got loads of original features and character.
Nice. Yeah.
I actually love it myself.
Uh-oh.
No, but it's really, when you can just see it's going to make a really fantastic family home. It's in a really sought after area on a very sought after road. So the plan is full back-to-back renovation, restore some of the original features. In terms of floor space, it's like 1,600 square feet.
Wow.
So it's a good size.
Yeah.
It just needs slight reconfiguration, just make it a little bit more open plan. But relatively just straightforward, no extension needed. The loft is pretty much converted. So it's very straightforward, really.
Nice. How did you source that deal?
That one was on market. Okay. So I do also source deals for other investors as well. And this was one that I'd looked at for another investor, but as a HMO conversion. But we'd got another deal lined up for them as well, which they went ahead with the other deal. And then this property, as I say, it was just so beautiful. I was like, oh, I can't let it go. So then I started to look at it from a flip perspective, because that's what I enjoy doing the most myself. And yeah, it was on the market at 325, and I managed to secure it for 258,000.
Wow.
So yeah, I got a massive.
What went into that negotiation?
So basically it went to sealed bids.
Right.
I didn't actually get the sealed bid. Another investor that I know did, although I didn't know she'd got it at the time. I didn't know who'd got it. I know I put a really low offer in. I put an offer in at like 250 because of the amount of work that it needed, and didn't hear anything. So I didn't even find out that I'd not got it, just didn't hear anything for weeks and weeks. And then randomly just got a phone call one day and they said, does your offer still stand? We would like to go ahead with it. So the other investor that I know, another female investor, she'd pulled out because she wanted to put an extension on it. And it was in a conservation area, and there was lots of red tape around it. Whereas when I reanalyzed it, it didn't actually need the extension, and it could still make a good GDV.
Nice.
So it worked for me.
Good. I mean, it's a numbers game, isn't it?
Yeah.
The deals are out there, and people that maybe say, oh, there isn't any deals at the moment. There's definitely deals. You've just got to keep putting the offers in, keep viewing the properties, and then eventually you get one like that where you forget about it, and 4 weeks later,
it comes out of the blue.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I feel like there's loads of deals out there. I'm more the opposite end. I'm looking for the investment side and the finance. I can find the deals, good deals, and I'd love to take them all on. There's just, for me, I need more of the investment.
That's, usually the kind of sticking point. I'm the opposite end now. I've got too much, or people offering me too much money and not enough deals. So it tips eventually.
Well, I remember Paul Stapleton saying to me, that's why people work together, because you've got to know what your skills are. What can you bring to a deal or a a working relationship or whatever it is, like, are you good at finding the deals but you can't find the investment? Are you good at the relationship side of things, or the number side, or the CRM side of things? And then you find your weakness, and that's when you pair up and you JV, or you work with someone that can bring the other part to it. And it does make sense. Like, nobody's going to be the jack of all trades.
No. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's finding that, which is why JVs are so powerful in property. And I think it's finding that balance between what your skill sets are versus, but in some regards, some people just put the money in and it's up to you to deliver that. So it's just understanding, what that looks like as a relationship. And also, don't just go into bed with anyone. You've got to make sure you're going into bed with the right people. And Hayley Andrews is certified because she's been on the podcast.
Yes.
So. Great stuff. So in terms of, I guess, the next 12, 18 months then, what does that kind of look like for you?
So obviously start the flip. We've got a schedule of works for 5 months, and then get it back on the market and get the cash out.
What are you hoping to, just jumping back to that deal, I don't think what was the refurb and then GDV? We've
got a schedule of works for 5 months, a budget for the refurbishment, including contingency, of 90,000. And I think all in with all fees, it comes to about 400,000 off the top of my head. And then the GDV is 500,000.
Nice. Wow. Really solid numbers.
Yeah, it's a great project. And then I'm doing obviously the deal with Hayley, so we're doing a profit share on that. And then the most amazing thing out of getting Hayley on board is she said on stage, for our next deal. So she's looking at it from a long term, which is what I want to gain out of it, is like I say, I've got the deals, I can get the deals. So it'd be great to work with somebody that wants to do future deals and going forward. So there's that. There are a couple of other deals I'm looking at. I also work, as I say, with investors, sourcing them deals. So I've got a couple of project management projects that are in the pipeline. So a HMO conversion,
nice.
And a couple of refurbs. So enough to keep me busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, get the event launched and just build the community.
Nice. See where the wind takes you.
Yeah.
Do you think there is like this burning ember within you? Like, do you think this is always like that entrepreneurship and wanting to work for yourself? Has that always kind of been within you?
Yeah, definitely. So school was never my thing. I used to just go and sit at the park cafe with my friend. And I was never into school. I don't like being put into a box and sort of said, you've got to do this, you've got to be there at this time. I'm very free-willed in that aspect. But I always knew what I wanted to do when I left school. So I went down the beauty therapy route. And by 18, I had purchased a business.
Oh, wow.
So I raised private finance.
Wow.
I got a JV partner.
Yeah.
And I didn't obviously know what any of that meant at the time. I just knew that I wanted this salon and I had to find a way to get it. So got people on board. And literally I was 18 years old, was employing staff. And also this was my first renovation project. So I bought an existing business. I had worked in that business from being young, from being like 15. So I knew the salon. But then we grew. So within the first 10 months, we actually moved premises. So moved to a bigger premises that was a financial advisor's. He was our financial advisor. I basically kicked him out of his own building.
Nice.
And then had to renovate it because obviously it was offices and we wanted to make it into a beauty and hair salon.
Wow.
So we did a full renovation project over the space of like 4 days. And
as you do.
Yeah, it was like a midnight flip. We always said it was like we literally left the salon one day and then moved in the next. Moved to bigger premises, rented out rooms, took on more staff, and then grew the business. But it was always, I just always knew it was like a stepping stone for me. It wasn't going to be my end goal. So when I'd been in the business about 4 years, I then started to phase myself out because I was the main therapist. That's when I employed one of the girls as like a manageress. And then I started, because I was doing lots of work as well as the salon. I was freelancing for other companies like a tanning company and an educator company. So I just phased myself out, and then I sold the business eventually.
Wow, congratulations.
So I feel like, yeah, the entrepreneurial side's always, I work better doing my own thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I can relate to that. Just very quickly interrupting this episode, have you got a property deal in mind? Want to build or grow your portfolio but unsure how to obtain funding? No problem. At Roma Finance, they love to lend. The borrower first approach means Roma deliver flexible, tailored solutions that accommodate the diverse needs and experience of developers across residential and commercial projects. With a flexible criteria, Roma take time to understand each borrower's unique circumstances. Roma's attentive team are always equipped to handle and take on your requests. They will guide and support you throughout the property journey. Colleagues and customer relations are the beating heart of their business. Don't forget to explore Roma's website, romafinance.co.uk, for helpful resources, including articles and case studies to guide your financial decisions. Remember, Roma Finance love to lend. Your property goals are only a call or email away. Now back to the episode. Yeah, I never functioned in school just because of that free will element. And I think that's what success and business gives me. It gives me that ability to make my own choice and not have to be restricted by anything.
Yeah, and be creative with what you want to do.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. No, and it's interesting because guests that I get on here are of the same ilk. It's that kind of don't accept the status quo and looking at things differently, and what exists in the box is just not of interest at all. It's what's outside of the box that it
that's
thrives.
When you can flourish, when you can just explore what you want to do.
Absolutely.
And I feel like this a bit now, again going off topic, but my eldest, who's 4, he's due to start school in September, and I feel like, I know he's only young, but his personality is very much how I was. And I know that being in a school environment, sat down at a desk for 8 hours, he will struggle with. And so I'm now looking at the option of homeschooling him.
Okay, interesting.
And I'm not going to be his full-time teacher, of course, but putting him in activities where I know he'll thrive better than being sat at a desk for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I get that. Absolutely. My sort of perspective on school, I think, I don't look at it from, I learned algebra or, anything technical like that. For me, it was like friendship groups and like negotiating to get myself out of trouble with teachers and being like the sweet Scot that can get, myself out of trouble in that regard, but then being the naughty class clown type thing.
That was me.
That's kind of like what my...
The lovable rogue.
Exactly that, yeah. I think that for me was like, I think that's probably why I'm good at networking now, because I was kind of one of those kids that I was friends with everyone.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a fixed like friendship group, but I kind of knew everyone, which is, what you kind of need in building teams and networking and being a business development manager and all that sort of stuff. So I think
I can very much relate to that as well.
Yeah, I mean, probably why we get on.
Yeah.
Pair of clowns. But yeah, I think you got to kind of look at school differently, I guess, in that regard, and what are the silver linings, like anything. But I suppose that's an entrepreneur trait as well, to try and find the silver linings in everything, because life's pretty stressful.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that common theme comes up with guests. It's that kind of, never really fitted into
the box. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it, to see, like, with what you're saying then. And I know I was listening, I think, to Hayley's episode when she came on, and she said something very similar, and was at school and selling stuff, and that was like literally what I was doing. So there must be something in it that we, like all entrepreneurs, do these kind of similar things. Yeah,
it's interesting on that sort of topic. I'm just watching Diary of CEO at the moment with Kevin O'Leary, where the American Angel does Dragon's Den version. I can't remember what they call it, but Stephen asks him a pretty direct question, is everyone cut out to be an entrepreneur? And he's obviously he's a billionaire, I don't know but anyway, he says, no, not everyone is cut out to be. He says maybe about one in three are maybe cut out. But he said, I train, hundreds of entrepreneurs, and not everyone is cut out to do it, an entrepreneur. And interestingly, just digressing slightly, he talks about luck in that as well, and like basically how any success is just driven by luck.
Yeah.
And I'm actually reading a book that aligns to that at the moment called The Black Swan, which is all about that, where basically people think they know what they're doing, but really it's just luck primarily that's educated, obviously, to get to that luck element. But
like we were saying, because if you put yourself in the right room, those luck opportunities are more likely to happen. 100%. So educated by putting yourself there.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Do you know what? That's full circle. That is brilliant.
It's true though, isn't it? My friends have always said to me, I've always been, like you were saying, like the outgoing person, and they always say you'll fall in shit and come out smelling of roses. But because I'll just get up and go and move on to the next thing, or I'll do something else. It's where you put yourself, which what you just said, it's educated luck, I think.
Yeah, 100%. But you've got to be...
And mindset.
And that as well, that plays a massive sort of role. Do you feel a shift in mindset in terms of like that education piece? Because you've obviously been very entrepreneurial. You've been exposed to the business world from obviously, day dot, really. Yeah. Do you feel like there's been a shift in in sort of your mindset?
I think I've always been a positive person anyway. I'm a very much an optimistic person. I always see the best, maybe not always the risks side of things. Whereas say like my partner, he's more the other side and he'll sort of balance me out. But definitely now I can see the success that people have, and I can see the success that I can have. I'm even more optimistic. So mindset has been a big thing. And if I have a down day, that's fine. Like you can have a down day. It doesn't have to throw you off track. It's how you pull yourself through the next day. Whereas, maybe when I was younger and I had my salon, it might take me a little bit longer to come out of those down days, like if I was having staff problems or money problems or something. Whereas now I can turn it around a lot faster.
Yeah, I get that. I think with age, you kind of become better at handling those types of situations as well. Like, I think the more you're exposed to that level of stress, and the more you kind of become immune to it in a way. You kind of know it's there, but I'll deal with that later type thing. Yeah,
you can deal with it. That's the thing, because you've dealt with similar or other stresses in the past. Yeah. It's just a moment's stress, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, I know just for comparison, the first renovation that I did, as I say, I just watched Homes Under the Hammer. I thought I can just knock a wall down. I can do this renovation with no idea.
Yeah.
And I was living in London at the time. My property was in Sheffield. Wow. And my head office was in Leeds. So I was like going between the three cities constantly.
Wow.
And also traveling extensively. Like I went to like Canada for 3 weeks at a time, all within this renovation. And I cried every single day. Because for me at that point, because I was fairly young, but the level of stress was not something I dealt with. Like it was people letting me down, tradesmen not turning up when they said, or not doing as good a job. And it felt really heavy, I think, mainly because I didn't have the experience and I didn't know how to solve the problems that I was having. But I cried every day. And I always say now that pain was a bit like childbirth. It's a pain you forget. So once I'd done the refurb, and even though it was stressful and I cried, once it was finished, I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad, was it? I could do that again.
Absolutely. Well, at least I know what childbirth's like now.
That is the best way I can describe it to anyone.
Wow. Okay.
It's a pain you forget until the next one.
No, I bet. Yeah, I mean, we've all got that kind of, well, it depends where you are in the journey, but there's definitely a moment where you're like, oh my word, the everything is closing in around me. What on earth is going on? I quite possibly might curl over and die any second. But once you come out the back of it, like you say, you kind of forget. You're like, right, on to the next one. Yeah.
It's like a roller coaster property, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Like you can have one day and you'll get 3 no's, or something's gone wrong, or you've got to sort something out. And you're like you say, you want to curl up and you don't want to answer to anyone. And then you sort that out. And then the next day you could have 5 highs and you're like, oh, wow, this is amazing. It's very like, woof, up and down.
In the same day, I had a sale fall through and planning permission granted.
Oh, God. Yeah.
It was like the morning was like low. And then it was like, okay, now we've got planning permission. And that had been in planning for 2 years.
Wow.
So it is literally just like that all the time.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking, I was chatting to someone on the train over and like just talking about various stuff, and I just felt positive. I got the podcast today and I was like, oh, I'm on top of things. Things are great. And then probably on the train journey home, I'll be like, oh my God, what have I missed today?
Yeah, what emails have come through? What dreaded news?
Absolutely.
But again, like you said, that's why it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
Because the more things that are in your pipeline, then you're going to have positive, but you will have negative. It's inevitable because you're working on more things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And really excited to stay in touch with what you're going on, or what you've got going on in the journey as well. And maybe we'll have you back on 12, 18 months to see where you're at.
Amazing. I would love that. Thank you so much.
Good stuff. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Well, hopefully you've taken some nuggets away from Chloe's episode. Obviously, it's around that kind of come up piece and what Chloe has achieved since I've known her, or at least been aware of what she's got going on. It's been pretty phenomenal, to be fair, and it is testament to her hard work as well as juggling kids as well. So hopefully you've got some inspiration, if anything, from this episode. Please do like and leave a subscription, or subscribe rather. I'm not going to ruin this outro because it's good, and I can't repeat what I've just said to Chloe because it came from the heart. But yeah, as I always say, please do like and subscribe, and do leave a review on the audio version, as it does help the podcast, and we can continue to get amazing guests like Chloe. Thank you very much. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.